What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel, giving a shout out to the rest of the crew: Shad, Kelvin, Jermaine, KB Film Room, Big Dog Talk Sports. That's right, that's right. Everyone who's tuning in today, thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel, help make this show the best that it can be. Let's talk some NBA, people. The NBA season, new NBA season about to kick off for the 25-26 campaign. Media day sessions took place for all 30 teams. Training camp has started. Preseason's right around the corner, and then opening night will kick it all off in October, late October. But I heard through the grapevine that one, better known dubbed as the Hurricane, is upset with the Laker organization, the Los Angeles Laker organization. The same franchise who has done everything for this guy and beyond. They've done more for him than they have for their own long-standing, career-long actual franchise players. They've done more for him than they shouldn't have been required to do. They've mortgaged the franchise off for this guy. And I always say, whoever's tuning in, look up the word mortgage. Not the noun description of mortgage, the verb description of mortgage in verb tense. When you leverage yourself off to benefit in the present versus what you could profit in the future. When you take your assets that should be available for you down the road, you cash that out to pursue whatever it is your goal is in immediacy. But more often than not, when you go down that road, you lose equity. That's what's happening to this franchise. And I know that a lot of people may disagree with that. I get that. But I can see it. It's tangible. Especially when you're not getting the results. When they won the bubble, that threw everything off whack. And it has led a lot of people to believe that this was the right path to choose to pursue victory. But in all actuality, it's not. And we're seeing the results of that year after year after year. But I will get off into that. I've mentioned that probably 1,000 times. But he's upset that the perception is, or the reality, that the Lakers are changing course. They're steering direction. And now they're putting their backing behind one Luka Doncic, who they traded for mid-season last year. He doesn't like that. He's upset about that. His fans, his supporters are upset about that. Well, ain't that something? They feel that he's being slighted. They feel that he's being disrespected. Well, ain't that about a blip? I've seen nothing but disrespect since all this started in 2018. They feel that he has a right to be upset. When they've done everything for him and beyond, got rid of everybody in sight. Well, to me, the individuals and the people who really have a right to be upset are those young men who they drafted that was casted out. Wasn't nobody complaining then. I didn't hear all this fuss about Julius Randle being let go. I didn't hear nothing about when Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart was traded in 2019. I didn't hear a peep when Zubac was traded. I didn't hear a peep. And the irony is, in this situation, I have not seen any sense of loyalty. And what I mean by loyalty, I'm not talking about blind loyalty. I'm talking about your respect that should be just due based on your effort in representing the jersey of the franchise. And to me, throughout this whole 7-year odyssey, there's been nothing but chaos. I still haven't found players who represent the jersey with greater pride and determination and fight than the young core. See, what people got to understand is, and I get it, I always say, fans, sports fans, whoever their favorite team is, they want to see their team win. That's natural. The problem is what you do or the steps that you take or the choices that you make to pursue that goal. That becomes the issue. So if he's upset, which he probably is, well, did he consider how the young core felt? Did he consider when Brandon Ingram was standing at the free throw line on the road versus the Indiana Pacers at what was known as Conseco Fieldhouse, when them fans in Indiana knew what was about to happen to that young core and yelled out, LeBron gonna trade you? LeBron gonna trade you. They wasn't mocking Ingram, they was mocking the situation. I never felt so upset in all my years of watching NBA basketball than I did on that night. It was on a Friday night. I'll never forget it. And then after the game, the press interviewed Brandon Ingram and asked him about that moment. And I'm telling you, I've never seen a young athlete exercise the level of professionalism that Brandon Ingram did at that moment. Because he could have went off. He could have said, you know what? I have nothing to say. But when you have great character, and to me, yes, like I said, man, sports is about winning, man. I get that. But man, the character that Brandon Ingram showed at that moment, it blew me away, man. Because he had to be, let's see, 20 years old at that time, at that point? He was in his third year, so he was 20. 20 years old. Well, 20 to 21 years old. And he exercised that level of professionalism, man. When he knew that he was about to be traded at some point. I would say he has the right to be as angry as anyone. Because what you got to understand is, see, when you start up as a franchise, okay, I'll use another example. Lou Dort of the Oklahoma City Thunder. After the Thunder, traded Paul George and, traded, Westbrook, who requested to be traded. Westbrook requested to be traded to Houston. Paul George got traded to the Clippers. And then Chris Paul, after playing that 1 year with OKC, he got traded to Phoenix. So all the big names, all the big-time veterans, they moved on from and they started over. Lou Dort, when Oklahoma City was getting blown out, and this is what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander kind of starting his career out, after his rookie year with the Clippers being traded to OKC. Lou Dort represented their franchise in a down period when they had been used to winning throughout the 2010s. That was established by Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and whatnot, Serge Ibaka. They moved on from their whole era of players, and they started from the bottom. Lou Dort was asked to represent the franchise, play 150%, go all out while they doing a rebuild, while they constructing a rebuild. Now look at him. He's at the top of the basketball world. He's not the best player on the team, but he's a mainstay. He's the type of player, man, fans gonna always appreciate that he represented the franchise when they was down. That's the legacy of the young core. That's their legacy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do a video about that. It's always something that always pops up in my head. That's the legacy of their young core. They represented the franchise, not when it was just down, because we had the down years after Kobe, the late great Kobe Bryant, injured his Achilles. Paul Gasol had moved on, went to Chicago Bulls. Derek Fisher, well, of course, he was traded during the 2011-2012 season. Lamar Odom was no longer on the team. Ron Artest moved on, right? So we was at the bottom. But when we started over, the young core, their legacy is they rep the franchise. We were starting all over again. And this is why I don't let them go, because their contribution to this franchise is immeasurable in a sense that you had all these, challenges that the franchise was facing after Kobe got hurt. A trade was blocked, years before in Chris Paul. So you have all these forces in play to where you have to start over. There's no other recourse, right? But this dude comes in, he takes all the equity that was built up over a 4-year period, all the optimism, all the excitement, and it's been all exhausted. It looks good right now going to the season because you got Luka on the team. But my point is, if you build it up all the way, establish the foundation, you won't need a Luka. That's my point. And you still have to rely on guys willing to sign like DeAndre Ayton, who was commanding a 9-figure salary. He signed on for with the mid-level 2 years. So he's already devalued. But the pressure's on him to deliver. And if he don't, he could be playing overseas somewhere in a couple years. Just like a whole bunch of other guys who signed up for this joint effort to mercenary their way to a championship to help this dude win. So my point is this. If he's mad, which he probably is, because he's used to getting his way, no matter what, nobody should be more upset than that young core. Kyle Kuzma, in his 3rd year, said entering this, because remember Kyle Kuzma was playing on the FIBA team, and he injured his foot. And he missed like the first month of the regular season, first month or so of the regular season. And when they asked him what his role was entering that season, the 2019-2020 campaign, he said, I have no idea what my role is. All I know is I'm getting a check. I've never heard an NBA player only entering his 3rd season have questions about what his role is on the team. But his rookie year, you knew what his role was on the team because they called his number to hit the big shot, to take the big shot in the 4th quarter. Because he came in as a seasoned 4-year college player, averaging 16.5 points a game, top 5 rookie of the year consideration, top 5 in Laker history. In all of Laker history, Kyle Kuzma is top 5 in total points scored in a season by a rookie. In this franchise's long-standing history, that man is part of history. See, that's why I say I'll uphold history, man. I don't forget things like that. But in this climate that the NBA currently operates under, history and precedents and standards get disregarded for immediacy and instant gratification. And that's what the Lakers are caught up in right now, instant gratification. That was not instant gratification during the Showtime years. That was a standard. That was not instant gratification during the Kobe Shaq years. They went through 4 years of frustration before they broke through. That wasn't instant gratification in '09 and '10 because the rebuild started after Shaq was traded in 2004. That was a 5-year rebuild. This franchise is not about instant gratification. That's my whole point. But because of the Hurricanes present on the team, they're going to try to tell you it's always championship or bust. But it's mainly been bust since he got here, and what they got out of the deal in that one season was a bubble. So you get a bubble or you get a bust. And it's been more bust than bang for your dollar. And they're losing equity. And so if he's mad, well, my young core should be more angry than anybody associated with this team over the past 7 years. And it's the bottom line. Was AD upset when he was traded to Dallas? He probably was. I'm sure he was. Was Russell Westbrook upset about the way he was treated? And he was treated, man, he was treated like trash. Yes, he was angry. He had a right to be angry. He definitely had a right to be angry. At the end of the day, the young core, everything that the franchise has been trying to do over the past 7 years stands on their shoulders. If they weren't any good, they would not have been able to get AD. They would not have been able to get Kyle Kuzma. You see what I'm saying? So my point is, the Hurricane, I'm telling you, at this point, man, like I keep saying, the NBA needs to move forward, man. You can't continue to feature a guy in his 23rd season and try to keep on positioning him as the face of the league. And he's losing. And I'm just being hypothetical, if he did win again, it's not going to be because of him. It's going to be because the Lakers going to be forced to just give up the whole entire operation to go for a championship. That's it. The NBA needs to move on, man. The beautiful thing about Michael Jordan's career is, since they want to, they bring his name up. I remember when he retired the first time in '93. He said, at some point, people get tired of hearing about you and seeing your face on TV. You see what I'm saying? Like, he just had great self-awareness about himself. He went to go play baseball basically in the underground, AA, AAA. He wasn't really even doing commercials that much at that point. He was really trying to make an effort to become a baseball player. He comes back, man. He transforms his game, rack off another 3 straight championships. Then he retires, although it was forced because of the direction that the organization wanted to go with the Bulls. But nonetheless, he knew, he was very self-aware about his stature in the NBA and in the sports world. Kobe Bryant, when he played, it just seemed like, to me, his main focus was going out there playing ball. Yes, I know he did commercials and that, but it just didn't seem like, man, he was trying to force the issue. Like, because they never really, I never got the impression that the league tried to make Kobe the face of the league, but his game was so tight. By the time he turned 22, and the way he stepped up in the 2001 playoffs, there's only one player in the world I've ever seen play like that in my years watching NBA basketball. There's only one player I can say that played equal to Kobe Bryant in that playoff run in '01. That was Michael Jordan. So they had to kind of recognize him at that point because he was just so freaking good. But this situation here, man, like, how many more opportunities you gonna be given to try to prove that you're something that your resume is showing that you're not? So I'll say, in ending and closing, the people that should be angry the most is their young core. That's who should be angry. And I'm gonna do a video about them. I wasn't even planning to do it, but I'm gonna do one real soon. But it's time to move on, man. The gig been up, like I said, it's been up since 2020. But I just want to drop that gold nugget. Please leave your comments and thoughts. And as I always love to say, this is your boy JB. This is the show BTB, and it's called Behind the Bench.